Communities taking the fight against crime in their own hands. How does jungle justice impact communities and the family of victims? And here to answer that question and more is Berthelyn Plummer, Senior Manager, Head of Social Work at the Peace Management Initiative. Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Yes. What is the overall role of the Peace Management Initiative?
The Peace Management was established about 18 years ago, and we work with marginalized communities and also persons who are affected by crime, violence, and also to work across community to bring groups together who are at who are at odds with each other. So to see how we can bring some cohesiveness among the group, and also to put different preventative strategies in place so to alleviate some of the problems.
Because of what's been happening in our communities and with the Zozos and stuff, I suspect you're busy.
Yes, we are. We are.
This morning we're talking about jungle justice. Sometimes we hear the term,
Yes.
but we're not even sure, some of us, what it means. So let's start there. What is jungle justice?
Okay. Honestly, I don't believe in jungle justice because there's no justice when persons believe that it is okay to take matters in their own hands.
So is that what it is, taking matters into your own hands?
Yes, and leading a mob, and at the same time there would be investigators, judge, jury, and executioner at the same time. So it is not justice, as it is illegal, as far as I'm
Emotionally
concerned.
led.
Yes.
What do Jamaicans think about it? Do Jamaicans think jungle justice is something that has to happen?
Some Jamaicans, and especially when they believe that they are marginalized or they are not being heard, and also when they are hurting, and hurting people hurt people.
Yeah. Before we came on here, I was asking you about this incident where the community killed a gentleman who they thought had killed a little girl.
Right.
I can't remember the area.
Right.
It is in Sterling Heights, Buller level,
right,
in St. Andrew.
So you go into that community and you do what exactly?
Yes, we have been working in that community.
Working means what?
The Peace Management Initiative, we had programs on the periphery of that community before. We had an unattached youth program. So we were aware of the community when that happened. We went in there, we did underground work with the community. We did intervention, therapeutic intervention, counseling, along with other agencies also. So there was a collaborative approach. Peace Management Initiative is still working in that community, looking at group counseling, family counseling, individual counseling, and also some community activities which will help the community to heal and bring them together.
When things like that happen, is the whole community who in it, or is just a 5-man or a 2-person, is what?
Okay, the communities, how they are really interlock or internal, and sometimes you're not sure how many persons are involved, because then you would go at the end or when after it's happened, and then people will not, no one will tell you that it was 6 people, or they are not fingering anybody.
But how does it affect the community? You know, because I'm living
devastated.
in a
It's traumatic because you have different persons at different levels and with different thought process. However, because they have to perhaps be supportive, so no one will say, okay, or even say to the police, this was Tom Jones, that was so and so. But it is devastating, it is traumatic, it is hurtful, and it is painful also.
Wow. How does it affect the victim's family? In some instances, like in communities, the family still lives in the community. I guess sometimes they have to leave the community.
Yes.
Do you offer grief counseling for them?
Yes, yes. What we do, we work right across. We do not stigmatize persons. So we work with also the perpetrators, the victims, family members, community members, because when these things happen, all the persons are affected in different ways.
Yeah.
Some will talk, some will not say anything, but the hurt is there.
Yep.
So we work right across. So we look at different intervention strategies that we can
Yeah.
involve.
I suspect we're having this conversation because of what happened recently, where this gentleman was splashed during the rains, and I think he was the person who was killed. Have you started to deal with that one
No,
yet?
we have not. We have not been there as yet.
Are you called in, or do you just see something like that and you just walk in and
Most often we are called in by community members, and the Peace Management Initiative, we have worked across communities, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon.
Why would
That
you
is-
not have gone into this one, and this happened like last week or so?
It happened last week, and at the moment we are still working and gathering information from persons on the ground to see what our next move is. Because we have liaison officers and also violent interrupters in the community. So we sort of do that out of underground work with those persons, and then we'll move in.
We hear a lot that some, crime, sometimes at the core of some of the things that happen is conflict and dispute resolution. I know the PMI is doing work, but how are we doing in Jamaica in terms of breaking the back of it?
Okay. Conflict resolution and restorative justice. It is a new thing coming in, a new approach. So it takes time, Our culture is sometimes we have to see and it have to work and so on. But it is happening also. And one of the things, if at all possible, that we can have people really having that conversation with each other, right? Talk to each other, and they will be able to resolve the conflict, and it will not result into some of the problems that we are having. And you have to bear in mind that these problems, it isn't just overnight.
Yeah.
Some of the things are embedded,
Behavior.
hurt,
Yeah.
hate. Persons have experienced trauma, even as a child.
Yeah.
But it is manifesting itself now. If you should see even some of the children at play, you realize how they respond to each other. Kick, fight, and very aggressive. So it is anger. There's so much anger.
Anger.
Final
so-
question, Mrs. Plummer. You have enough social workers? Because I said at the start that you guys must be busy.
No, but one of the things we are lucky for, we have a cadre of about 50 active volunteers.
Okay, great.
In Peace Management Initiative, where we have some are retired personnel, some are other agencies, professional. So from time to time also, we can call on them to help us with some of the things that we have to do. Psychiatrists, psychologists, nurses, teachers, ministers of religion,
And they will come.
and so on. So
Thanks for coming, ma'am.
Thank you very
Good to
much.
see you.
have
Mrs. Berthlin Plummer, senior manager, head of social work at the Peace Management Initiative.
Coming up, the Lions Club is going to build communities across Jamaica. We're going to hear all the details after the break.